Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that should be the name of an Atlanta sports podcast covering the Atlanta Hawks and the Atlanta Falcons. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
That was good. I liked it.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. And thank you to Charlie for submitting that one via text message. Now, look, Hambone, I actually got a lot of really funny opening bit suggestions this week. Very on time, topical, very clever, very funny. But I chose to do this one because I really want to highlight to our listeners that it doesn't have to be good to make it on the show. So thanks again to Charlie.
You use that one because your perceived quality of that specific intro is so low that you, by using it, are therefore displaying how low the bar is to get into this.
I'm just saying, if you're out there and you're like, that wasn't that funny, just go ahead and submit it. You know, you never know what'll make the cut.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So thanks again to Charlie for submitting that. I mean, I think it was incredible. And
do you?
I do think that this should be the name. Hold on. Should be the name of an Atlanta sports podcast.
Yeah.
Covering the Atlanta Hawks.
I heard it the first
Atlanta
time.
Falcons. I think we should be. I mean, we're talking about birds, but we only got one bird team here. They got two.
That is true. I guess I will say that I know nothing about either of those. I could not name a player on either of those teams, a single player. So it's going to be hard.
Let's see. Falcons. Matt Ryan.
Is he still playing?
I have no idea.
No way.
Maybe. This is good. This is Hambone Googling the current roster of the Atlanta Falcons, I assume.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know ball. I'll just leave it there.
You go to basketball games sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, we haven't been to one this year. The Nuggets are good, not great. I think we're gonna go very soon though. But yeah, I like a little bit of the old leather pumpkin, as we call it.
Yeah. Everyone calls it that, and it makes perfect sense to call it that. So that's why everyone does it.
You throw the pumpkin in the basket, 2 points, maybe, sometimes 3,
sometimes 1.
I've seen that too. Yeah, it's a little the sport's confusing. 1, 2, 3. Like, how many points are you? It's the same basket.
See, I know. Seriously, someone needs just like get Rob Manfred in there. He's fixed baseball.
There's no home runs at other sports,
we should include home runs in every sport. I think you're totally right. This is good.
Like, no one's hitting, no balls are going out of the stadium in any other sport. There's not a fan. I guess you can like LeBron could sweat on you at an NBA game if you're in those really expensive seats right up front. But you're not
and don't we wish you would?
Yeah, we do. But like, you could go to a baseball game and catch an Ivan Herrera home run or a foul ball or whatever, and that's not crazy.
Yeah, I've actually lamented that on this podcast before. I think it's absolute bullshit that basically every other sport, if the ball or whatever piece of sporting equipment goes into the stands, you're expected to give it back. I don't think that's how it should work.
Yeah.
If the football goes into the stands, you should get to keep it. If the soccer ball goes into the stands, you should get to keep it. I think it's insane.
Yeah, finders, keepers, losers. That's not your ball.
Everybody should be like that guy who got the JJ Wetherholt home run, which is go into a part of the stadium that you're not allowed to go, grab it, and then immediately book it for the exits.
Yeah. We couldn't agree more. And try to sell it for money.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to like soccer games, I've been to, as you know, several city games. They do warm-ups where they're just kicking the ball at the goal, and it's frequently going into the stands. It actually feels like dangerous back there because these guys kick the ball real hard. But I
Oh,
think
so
part of
hard.
the risk, you should get to keep it.
You know
Are you mad
how
at me?
soccer, you know how soccer is so good. The Denver just had a women's major league soccer team. I don't remember the name of the
Uh-huh.
league. Obviously, I'm locked into soccer, especially locally. But they just set a
Uh-huh.
record. I think it was like 60,000 people or something like that attended a women's MLS game, and the game ended 0-0 in a tie.
It
Soccer
is
sucks.
it's the worst part about soccer. I've said
It's
that
the
before
worst.
too.
It makes it not even real to me. Like, why did we even show up? What a waste of time. And of course, they have a record-setting event at the inaugural game. It's at Mile High Stadium. Everybody's having a great time, and you go home 0-0. That is so
I do
stupid.
I do think every sport should end like I think 1-1 is fine. 2-2, any sort of tie. Like I understand that sports have to have ties. But I think 0-0 should be illegal in sports. There should have someone should have to have had to score at some point in the game for the game to end.
It's unwatchable. That's another great thing about baseball. There are no ties. There will never be a tie.
Yeah. Apparently we heard last time we talked about this exact same topic on this show because we've been doing this for 4 years now. We learned from Akira, our on the ground UK
Boy,
correspondent,
bruv.
that that is really the platonic ideal of a soccer match, of a football match, is the 0-0 game where both team plays perfectly and there's just no one is able to score. I think what they're trying to like the parallel there would be like a 1-0 baseball game where it's like a pitcher's duel and everybody plays perfectly and like one guy got a hold of one. Maybe like the Roy Halladay Chris Carpenter game, from forever ago, that was like an incredibly tense,
Sure,
nearly
sure.
perfect baseball game that ended 1-0.
Right.
But there was still one. And also, my experience with 0-0 American soccer matches is that it's mostly just incompetence bouncing around and nobody's actually able to do anything successfully, which is not satisfying to watch.
No, I am. No, I have nothing more to add other than I'm a hater, and I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
Well, we all know that. But I'm really glad that we've started this episode, the first week of baseball, by talking about soccer and basketball. So
Charlie's
again,
fault.
thank you to Charlie for this incredible opener. How you feeling? We've got 5.5 games in the books. The Cardinals are in the middle right now of a tight match against your New York Mets. How you feeling?
Baseball season, baby. I feel great. I
Yeah.
got tickets to opening day on Friday. I just bought, because great thing about living in Denver is that tickets are cheap. Just bought some tickets for the Tuesday game next week.
Okay.
So I already got some baseball games that I will be attending here very soon. It's unseasonably warm, so the weather is looking really great for both of these games. Yeah, I feel like we're in it right now. Like I like for the I don't really care about this as being a fan, but for like the purposes of talking about baseball on a podcast, I do wish we could like fast forward to a month so I could stop saying like, extremely
It's
small
early.
sample.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
early. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
also like the fun parts of this early part of the season is like Joey Weimer is leading the league in F4 right now. And we'll
Yeah.
probably never ever say Joey Weimer's name on this podcast ever again, but we can say it right
He was
now.
hype. He's like, it's post hype sleeper,
Sure.
baby. Maybe he's real. Maybe this is his, 5 good games, and yeah, we'll completely forget
Yeah, I
about
heard
it.
somebody talked about like, like just talking about small sample size, like any baseball player can do anything for 60 at bats. Like any baseball
Yeah,
player can look like Babe Ruth for 60 at bats or whatever it might be. And we're like obviously well within that threshold. And I think there's like a fun aspect to the beginning of the season and all the craziness
Yeah.
and like looking at the WAR leaderboards and who's on top, who's struggling. and having players. I think Harper just hit his first home run, like people getting off the schneid or whatever from a power standpoint. Like, I love all this early
Yeah,
season
or
stuff.
Shea Langoliers, which great name by the way. One of the more fun ones to say. I just love the word Langoliers.
Langoliers.
Is at 5 dingers already. You know,
He is
so
like just made his season in the first week. If he just continues and has a normal season after this, he has made himself probably a ton of money in arbitration
yeah,
very, very quickly.
yeah. There's a lot of that sort of fun thing where it's like, okay, if he just hits for the rest of the season a home run once every week or whatever, he's on a pace for like a 40 home run or 50 home run or whatever it is because he hit 5 in the first 4 games. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna overreact to this episode to a bunch of stuff. We were on C70 show on Friday night, which was a ton of fun. Hopefully you followed up listening to him with us last Thursday and listened to the follow through on the episode Friday night where we had the thrilling conclusion to the game that we played, which we kind of buried the whole thing. I realized after we were done recording that I think I ran away with that game, but we never actually said the final score, the points, or anything. But I think I won by a lot because I got the one of them. I've already forgotten all of them.
Yeah. I think I won
I
because,
think I
I
won.
probably did. You're
No,
such
I
a
got
jackass.
the one that was 5 points. How long the game is gonna be. I got how long the game was gonna be, and I got the amount of.
Nobody cares.
And I
Nobody
know
cares.
nobody cares, but I do. And so, and I got the ABS challenge one right. Or no, is it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. I'm moving on.
Let's
Yeah.
cut this
I
out.
didn't
Let's
get
make
that
sure
one
that we
right.
get this right. It'll take as long as you need, Nate. This is good.
I just want to make sure that I got a little
I
bit of
know.
shine
I
and
know. I know what you're
shine
doing.
in the glory a
Yeah.
little bit.
No, it's good.
Thank you.
People like hearing that.
Thank you. I think so too. So should we get into some early reactions and
What do you want to talk
overreactions to
about?
this?
What do we got?
Well, how about let's just start it. The Cardinals are 3-2.
Yeah.
We'll see how this game ends, but either way, worst case scenario, the Cardinals have opened against one team that could be good and another team that should be one of the better in the league. They're opening the season 500 at worst, if not 4-2, which I think is a really good outcome considering the competition and considering expectations for the season. So let's just start at like a high level. How are you feeling about the team basically 1 week into the opening week of 2026?
Yeah, I think the team looks like, and it's always like easy to put these type of narrative-y things on club when they're winning more games than they're losing. But I will say that they just look a little looser. They look very athletic, which is kind of not, I guess, not what I really expected. The broadcast has said this a couple of times, but they're the youngest team in MLB, and I don't think I knew that for a fact. Obviously, I knew that like jettisoning players like Nolan Arenado and Miles Michaelis would make the team younger, but they're the youngest team in MLB. Um, and the fact that they're the youngest team in MLB, what the projection systems are saying about them and what we think that their future status is going to be, like the way that this team will grow, and then looking at the way that you are seeing, looking at the progression from Gormy and Walker, and seeing JJ Wetherholt just kind of step in and look like a big leaguer. I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about how I'm feeling even more and more excited about 2027, and I think the Cardinals are going to ramp up sooner than later. First week of balls really got me thinking that that's right. Like we're not ready yet. The bullpen, there's been some issues. There's some chinks in the armor, but like we're going to look young and competitive and athletic, maybe really, really quickly.
Yeah, I think just that what was it, 6th inning of home opener alone really, you really try not to overreact to one game. You really try not to overreact to one inning. But just that one inning alone really impacted my expectations for this season. I didn't think that they had that in them this year, an 8-run inning coming immediately after a really frustrating, difficult, BABIP to death inning that looked like was going to be a real sour opening day, a bad loss on a lot of stuff that looked like, they just a lot of bad luck and the inability for the bullpen to get a strikeout. And all of a sudden they put up 8, they have a couple other comebacks, or at least really competitive losses where they did lose. You're like, okay, this team is, at least offensively, is gaming already. They're playing, they're putting together at bats. Right now, it doesn't feel like there's very many holes in the lineup. But of course, that's where you have to do the small sample size stuff. But everybody's coming in and making very good at bats. I saw somebody say that this team is constructed in a way where on the offensive side, it's a very young team that you can be excited about, that looks like the future is near. And the pitching side looks like a team constructed to lose games to get a better draft pick. And I don't agree with that entirely on both sides, but it is funny how in just 1 week, like I was coming in like, I think the pitching's going to be okay. It's the offense I'm worried about. And right now I'm like, this lineup's looking pretty fun,
Well,
pretty young,
I mean, Gorman and Walker coming out
It
and
changes
having a
everything.
WRC plus above 100, that alone really makes this lineup look a lot different. Like that, those are
Yeah.
two. Not only are they like the only true sources of power on the club, but like they're two huge potential holes. Like third base and
Yeah.
right field, you need offensive production from those two. Those guys just bang. This offense is probably good. Like if Walker and Gorman actually fulfill the promises that their prospect rankings we're sending, like this team is really, really fun.
Or hell, even like 75% of what their prospect,
You're
pedigree.
talking two like 60, 70 grade power guys. If they just click, we're looking at 60-ish plus homers that we were not accounting for.
Yeah. And you already mentioned it, but like I don't think we can be this far into the episode without really reiterating just how good and fun JJ Wetherholt has looked. I mean, obviously a home run, game 1. He basically hasn't looked overmatched yet.
No.
Sure, it'll happen. He had a couple strikeouts in the game yesterday. He will certainly have games at some point where he strikes out 3 or 4 times as he just gets played by MLB pitching. But across the board, he's looked great. Defensively, he's looked good. He had, an error, but that's going to happen. So he has basically come right in looking like what everyone was hoping, which is really exciting. And now we're starting to get the rumors. The rumor mill is churning that the Cardinals are actively in discussion with for an extension with him, which is exciting. There's a bunch of these have just been announced in the league. We'll talk about that later. But to me, this has been one of the open questions about this new front office. Do they have a desire to do this? It's been generally considered to be a smart move. I mean, it's backfired a few times around the league, but a lot of teams have been built around these really good extensions of young players, and Mozeliak either didn't want to do it or never truly believed in his prospects, which actually probably turned out to be true. But either way, apparently Chaim Bloom is in on it and wants to extend JJ. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been asking for young players to be extended for 4 years, like as long as this podcast has been going. Like, I think Mason Wynn has been an obvious candidate for an extension for a while now. I think we were discussing even extending him before he came up, and he still seems like the most obvious candidate to me. I would love for JJ Wetherholt to happen. I think just like I think it would really signal to the fans that we're serious. I think that there is a deal that would scoop up JJ's arb in a free agent year or two that would make sense that he would sign, that would put the Cardinals in a good position. And I think like you just have to trust that this kid, I mean, he is everything he has everything going for him. He is solid defensively. He has a good eye. He seems like a smart, normal person. Like he's not a crazy guy. Like this is a type of person that you would want to invest in. It doesn't surprise me that they're having this conversation. The only thing that surprises me is that we like haven't had this conversation before, and the Cardinals has failed to do it, or like you said, maybe just had lack of interest or lack of faith or lack of funds or the ability to think, 30 days ahead of themselves or whatever it might have been. But I could not be more on board with at least JJ getting locked up for 7, 8, 9 years, whatever they might be talking about.
Just like you've been saying for years, lock him up.
Lock him up. Let me see the emails first and then lock him up.
And yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more later too, but I think it makes sense to at least see it at the big league level before going into extension talks. Although I imagine JJ has increased his cost by
So I get that, but
many
like
millions.
If you are Chaim Bloom and Goons, any of them,
Please
if you
include
really
the
feel
Goons.
like you've learned so much more about JJ Wetherholt in the past 5-6 games that you're now willing to make an offer, then like that doesn't make sense to me either. Like you know who this guy is. If anyone knows who this guy is, it's you. Or you should have done things to get to know him better. And I don't really buy that. I think like what the only thing that could have happened is if he came up and like shit his pants in his first at bat, and they're like, you know what, this kid might not be ready. But I don't think there's anything you can really learn about any baseball player in 5 games.
There's been what, like 12,000 Major League Baseball players in the history of MLB. It's something like that. At least one of them has to have shit their pants in their first game. Don't you think?
I don't know about first game, but I remember when Archie Bradley shit his pants while he was in the middle of a relief appearance.
On field, in game, just in the history of baseball, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, first game, Daddy, look what I did.
Yeah. That's how your children talk to you? Is that what just happened there?
What's that?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's had to have happened.
Well, he didn't do it.
Which is great.
Low
bar to clear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree with you, but I also think like for every person who looked like the perfect prospect and seamlessly eases into the major league level, there's 100 that completely falter at the big league level and take years to progress normally. So wanting to see the approach look good and have even a week of success is like, okay, he's not going to collapse day one.
I get where you're coming from, but prospects that are coming up in 2026 that like were high level collegiate athletes and blaze through the like young guys are different now than they were even 10
they
years
don't want
ago.
to work.
What?
The younger generation.
Oh, are you doing your Gen Z thing?
They don't want to work.
All right, do your 5 minutes.
You know what it is.
Okay.
Kids these days.
Nothing else.
Their iPads.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up. Look around the world. You know what I mean? Go start a podcast.
Okay. You done?
No, yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Do you know that point I was trying to make before you did whatever?
I stopped listening because I was thinking about what I was going to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can move on then. JJ's here.
Should we hit the other couple transactions before we go into the rest of the Vin's making a weird face at me while
what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Lock it in.
I am locked in. You're the one making goofy faces
today.
while I'm talking. Whatever. You suck. I'm on top of my game. I've been killing it ever since the intro.
The
The perfect
Cardinals
intro.
sent right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins on a rehab assignment with the Memphis Redbirds yesterday. We're excited about that. They also placed right-handed pitcher Matt Pushard on the 15-day IL retroactive to March 30th with right knee patellar tendonitis. Nate, I'm calling Phantom IL right here. Phantom IL.
Man, what? Yeah, well, because they can't. There's no options, right?
Yeah.
He is a Rule 5 guy, so he has to be on the team, or we lose him. We
Start the
were all,
investigation.
yeah. Let me get my little magnifying glass. You think so? One bad inning is enough for them to be like, all right, buddy, pack it in.
No, I think that they have some more development that they want to do to him. They let him go out and get his token relief appearance. Oh, now he's going down and he's going to be down rehabbing in AA or AAA, and they're going to rework some stuff on him before he comes back up. I 100% believe that.
I honestly hope you're right. It'd be nice to see the Cardinals organization pulling smart, rule bendy moves like we've seen some of the other smarter organizations do. So I hope you're right. And he didn't look great in that first game.
He didn't look great, and I guarantee you, in a week or so, they're going to say, "Oh, we're going to take it really slow with Matt. We're going to let him, let the knee get healthy. We're not going to rush him." Oh, and he's also working on a new pitch.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Pussard goes down. The Cardinals recalled right-handed pitcher Gordon Graceffo from the Redbirds to take that spot. Obviously, we know Graceffo pretty well. Now that he's a reliever, he throws high 90s. And looks pretty strong. He had a nice little Cardinals 2026 debut last night, and so far so good.
He did, but the real highlight from his debut was the Mason Wynn play.
That was an incredible play. That was the best play of the year so far. Mason Wynn is a very good shortstop.
Yes, absolutely. I imagine Graceffo, barring poor performance, which is of course what you could say for everybody, but I assume if he's performing well, he's just up for the rest of the year.
Yeah. That would be a little developmental win, right? Like actually getting a Cardinal prospect to be effective in your bullpen, especially with like the mediocrity that we're seeing in our current bullpen right now, or at least some of the guys in our current bullpen.
Yeah.
But excited to see him. And like I said, we'll follow the push hard beat, see what ends up happening with him. But my prediction is this is BS, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And as you mentioned with Hunter Dobbins on a rehab assignment, I'm really hopeful that we see him get a start pretty soon. I think we need to start that wagon going soon of getting all these guys up and getting them starts and his 6-man rotation, piggyback starts, whatever it is. Let's get these guys going.
Be very curious how they decide to handle that. If it is the 6-man rotation, if it's you just have one guy come up for one start, go back down just to like, it's almost like a pseudo 6-man rotation to keep guys healthy and to keep like you have, we've talked about this before the season started, but you have a lot of guys who have never thrown like 150 innings. So you're going to have to get creative. And I think starting it earlier than later makes a lot of sense. And you have Dobbins and Fitz who you can leverage their options. That they're major league-ish ready, to what degree you can argue, but you can bring up those guys and have ostensibly a 7-man rotation in some type of flexy, weird, however you want to make that work. And I hope I think that the Cardinals are smart enough and dynamic enough to flex that muscle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we're seeing some other teams do it right now too. Like the Braves are doing it with I don't actually know how to say his first name. Didier. Yeah. Where you're just planning like, all right, this guy's getting 4 innings, this guy's getting 4 innings, assuming.
Diddy?
Yeah. I know. Huge fan. You are. Did you see the thing? What's the Giants coach? New or no,
Oh,
Betrello.
Vitalo. I don't know. Some
Yeah.
Italian last name. It's like Tony
Just
Vitalo or something like that.
talking way too much about Kanye West in an interview.
Oh, was he really?
Like, yeah, like strange guy, but he sure is a good musician. You're like, I don't know if we should be labeling the man who was selling swastika T-shirts as a strange guy.
He is a strange
Not
guy. His name is
not the
Tony Vitello.
yeah. Okay.
I was pretty close.
Yeah.
No, did not see
Um.
that. Missed that one. Recommend if you're a public figure, just don't bring up Kanye West right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Just let it go.
It's free
Just
not
let
to.
him go. Let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine piggyback starts are an interesting, and it's also kind of fun to say, isn't it?
Just Piggy?
Piggyback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate. I'm having
Thanks.
fun.
Let's talk about Jordan Walker.
Let's talk about Jordan Walker. I don't know what to say other than I guess I feel the need to eat a little crow because he has come up and somehow looked completely different than he did in spring and all of the last 2 years. He has walked and struck out 3 times so far, which that might be the most shocking stat. I think that he has looked surprisingly good on defense. He's charged some balls in really well. I kind of forgot how good Jordan Walker's arm is. He's made some really aggressive, nice throws. And the swing that's been the big thing. The swing looks different. I know there's been a lot of posts online, people comparing his stance and his swing and stuff like that. But looking under the hood, first off, he has 14 contact events so far. Caveat. We're talking about an extremely small sample size, but who gives a shit? Because we have good news to talk about. He has 14 contact events so far. His average exit velocity on those events is 97 miles per hour, which is
Pretty good.
He is averaging a hard hit ball right now, which is crazy. The launch angle is the best in his career so far. It's sitting at 13.5, which is great. What is crazy, though, is the biggest change that we can see, and this is brought to you by StatCast and Fangraphs. They have a bunch of cool new swing analytics tools, is that his ideal attack angle is at 65%. His career is 45%. If you don't know what ideal attack angle is, it's the angle, or it's the percentage of swings that exist in the 5 to 20 degree range, aka barrel city. When you're swinging at that angle, when you're attacking the ball at that angle, you are more likely to hit a barrel. A barrel is like basically the ideal hit ball. It's hard hit at I think it's a 5 to 29 degree angle, and mostly those often result in home runs. And I think the batting average on barrels is like 800 or something. Like it's very high. So he is doing something of many things that he has never done before, exercising patience. And by the way, he's still swinging the ever loving shit out of the bat. He is averaging his fastest bat speed so far at 90, basically 79 miles per hour, which is elite. It is top of the league, elite. But he has a much better attack angle than he's had in the past, almost by double. Everything is looking really, really good. I don't know what else to say. Obviously, he hit a home run. He's looking like a baseball player. It is very early and everything could go wrong, and the league will adjust to whatever he's doing right now. And there will be some dark times for Jordan Walker this season. But you cannot argue that he has made a actual change somewhere in his game. It's his swing pass, his decisions, whatever it might be, all of it together. Maybe it's just him getting older. He looks like a better player.
Could be the drive line whole thing, you know. It is always surprising to me and such a good reminder that spring doesn't mean anything, right?
Means nothing.
Now, that said, he had that really good game on the last game of spring and then came into the season and has carried it forward. So maybe what he had been working on all spring finally clicked in that last game or 2 games and is carried in. But maybe he's just a guy you hear about it all the time, where it's just really hard to really focus into when the games don't matter. That's not necessarily the best way to be, but there is a reality to the competitive nature of these dudes, that they need it to be like full game, full stakes. Everything is real now. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that from him, but it could be the case. But either way, it has certainly been, I think, probably the most fun part of this opening season, because I've said this before, and I remember it. He's had. There's a reason he's still around at all. He has had moments at the big league level. And in fact, his entire rookie season, he was pretty good. And there were little bits and pieces last year where he was pretty good too, where the game is just so much more fun when Jordan Walker is playing well. And they're winning games right now, partly because of him, and he looks good in every single at bat. So it's just been more fun. These 5 games have been more fun because Jordan Walker has been good. The question will be, can he sustain it? Can he do it for more than 5 games? He got the day off today.
Yeah.
Which probably makes sense. Let's lock in those wins, take a day off, and come back and do it again tomorrow,
To stay positive, I don't know. Like, we started the show saying, like, any baseball player can do anything in 60 plate appearances. He has 20 plate appearances right now. It's super small sample size. But did we see him go on a run, a week-long run of this type of performance last year? Maybe. I don't remember it off the top of my head, and I feel like maybe we would. But he ended last year with the 66 WRC plus. It was a rough year, no matter how
he was one of the
look
worst
at it.
players. One of the worst players in baseball last year.
Yeah.
To me, the big thing is the launch angle, what you talked about, because a lot of his outs this week too were in the air.
Yeah.
Even when he was, I don't know exactly how we would look this up, but I suspect some of those good runs from last year was a lot of those low line drive singles getting through 117 mile per hour double down the line that nearly killed the third baseman. That sort of thing. We didn't see a lot of driving the ball we're seeing right now.
And that's the big difference. Again, it's a super small sample size, but he has a almost 300 ISO. He's slugging 588. If he can just 13 degrees is not a great launch angle. Like, people like Nolan Arenado is sitting like he's like 35 or 40. So it's not tremendous, but it is significantly better than what he has averaged in the past. And he hits the ball so freaking hard that, if that 117 mile an hour ground ball is just 10 or 15 or 20 feet in the air, you're talking extra bases, even home runs can happen out of that.
Yeah, anywhere but straight down. He just needs to hit it not straight down. You made the Yandy Diaz comparison when we had Ben Clemens on, and Yandy Diaz, by the way, having a killer start to the season. We feasting on Cardinal pitching and has continued into the next series. But you can see that where if you just hit the ball hard, and even if it's just straight, not even necessarily up, but you can do some real damage.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Who also has been fun is Alec Burleson. What do you think about this? What's going on here? Is it a next level? Is it a hot streak? What are you feeling?
I don't know what to say other than and we're a couple of sickos. We watch. I watch too much baseball, not just the Cardinals, and nobody from my eyes has just seemed like they're on everything to start the season. Like, he is a pain in the ass to pitch against right now. He is taking low and outside breaking balls and clubbing them the other way down the third base line. He is pulling pitches. He is stubborn. He's walking. I think he's hitting with a little more power than I expected. Just like the ball off the bat is like, he just looks locked in. And I don't know, he's 27. He is, getting into his physical prime. He understands the league. I think, he's about as hitterish as a looking player as the Cardinals have had in a long time. Like, he just Maybe he is jumping up to the next level. I still worry that he has problems against like lefty pitchers, but a lot of lefty hitters do, and that doesn't mean he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, and give credit where credit is due, I think that he's looked really strong at first base so far, and I think he's looked better in the first week of games than I remember him looking at any other time. The way that he has been, I think he's made a couple of throws from first base that have looked good. His awareness has looked good. I feel like maybe he's ascending, maybe he's just hot right now, but I think he looks really, really good to start the season.
Yeah,
I'm buying stock in Alec Burleson right now.
It's said a lot, it's not a unique take, but there's something to be said about knowing what position you're playing coming into the season and getting an entire spring training and all of that to prepare to be a first baseman. He's known that for months now. So it's good to see that he's clearly comfortable in the position. And like you said, I think he's looked pretty good. Yeah, I think the only question for me is like, is this just starting hot or is this an actual like leveling up of his skill set? Because if you remember last year, like he had some real slumps and then he goes on a tear and like completely fixes his season line, hits like 4 bombs, which changes everything. And then he would slump again and then he would go on a tear. And that's how he ends up with like a 280 batting average or whatever. Because at times he was pushing 300 for a little while. And then he would go on he would slump like most guys do, right? So that's just the question, is because we know, would we look at it last year at one point? He's like, from a WRC plus standpoint, he was one of the top 25 hitters in baseball last year. Like he is a competent hitter. The thing holding him back from like true stardom has been power. And maybe he's taking that age 27 step up, which is, many people say, like basically the age 27 season is the prime power season. Everybody's different. Everybody's body is different, but it's like 26 to 28 now is what most people call like the prime. And he's right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
Also, he has, again, small sample size. I'm going to stop saying it. I swear. I just have to. He has 4 walks against 1 strikeout. Yeah. If he could, adding power to his game would be amazing. Adding discipline to his game might be just as incredible. Because you think about, if you're adding, if you're walking, he's walked for his career almost 7%. If he can get to the 10, 11, 12% or even higher walk rate, power can often come with that, because you are getting yourself into situations where pitchers, they're either going to walk you and they know that you're not going to swing outside of the zone. Therefore, you're going to get a better pitch to put your A swing on. Maybe, one thing begets the other, but maybe, there is a version. It would not shock me if Alec Burleson turned into a 30 homer, 350 plus on base percentage type first baseman, and we're off to the races, and maybe we're talking about an extension with old Burley over there first at the end of this year. But he has come out hot, and like it's also just the look. He looks hard to get out. Just the eye. It's like, what do you do to Alec Burleson right now to get him out, other than, was it Kodai Senga that just, it was pumping 99 mile an hour fastballs? That can do the trick on a lot of guys.
That'll do it.
Outside of that, he's tough.
Yeah, I'm not ready yet for the 30 bomb thing. We need to see him hit the ball harder, more consistently, but he certainly has looked great out of the season, out of the start. I think one more guy from a looking great, or at least better out of the gates, that we got to talk about. I don't know if you've been applying your creams. I'm nearly out, Hambone, because my Gormania right now is just, it's spreading. It's bubbling. It's really rough, frankly, but I'm enjoying it too a little bit. You know what I mean? Nolan Gorman hitting the ball hard and drawing walks. What are you seeing out of Nolan Gorman so far?
I'm going to burst your bubble, Nate. He has not drawn a single walk yet.
No, not in my reality. Is that true? I thought, man,
no, he's got 0 walks and 5 Ks.
All right, well, I take it all back. But he's hitting the ball hard. That one I can tell you.
You cannot argue that he is hitting the ball hard. He has got great launch angle. I think that his approach, you probably feel like he's got walks because the approach has been, I think, a lot better. But I could definitely go for some more walks. I could definitely go
Yeah,
for a few less strikeouts. That being said, if he wants to strike out 25, 27% of the time and hit homers at the clip that he started the season, like that works. We can take that player all day and plop
right.
him over at third base, which by the way, I thought he's looked just fine over at third base so far. Nothing glaring has jumped up at me. But no, I think that he has looked like oh, and Nate, you know what? You are right technically. As we are talking, the game that is happening right now, he walked. So he has one walk on the year.
Apology accepted. He did boot a ball in the game today too, though. So, we'll
I
take.
guess when you're talking about Nolan Gorman, everything is true. It's all happening at once. But I think
Yeah,
what you're getting
yeah,
at, like he does look like an actual big league player, which was a legit, like that was a question coming into the year with him and Walker. Are they major league hitters? Can they fake it at least? And I think he's faking it at the very least so far. He's hitting the ball hard, and he is not an automatic out. So yeah, I'm having fun. There's something about him, and maybe it's just like the time off, and I just hadn't been thinking about it, and maybe this isn't an original thought or anything like that. But man, he has not come off as a super athletic player. Even when he tags a ball, like I don't know, he's kind of
yeah.
clunky. Um, but that doesn't really matter. That's just aesthetics. I've been pretty happy with his performance so far.
Yeah, well, he kind of looks like a high school bully who, like, is beefed out of his own comfort level, and moves as such. But when he hits the ball, it can be fun.
It can be fun. It really makes a thud, doesn't it?
Who else you want to talk about, Hambone? We've been
What
really hitting the highlights here.
Yeah, I thought it was fun that him and Urías, they're kind of third base is kind of leading the way for the power on the team so far, which like did not think that I would be saying that even with only 1 week of baseball.
Yeah.
Didn't think we were going to be looking at third base as a source of power. But yeah, why don't we talk about the pitching a little bit? I think that through the first turn of the rotation, obviously we saw Dustin May make his Cardinal debut, which was not fantastic. I think we saw Andre Palante, who really got by on the skin of his teeth. Wasn't fantastic. Been pretty impressed with Liberatore. But funny enough, Michael McGreevy arguably had the best start of the first run through the rotation. And I thought he looked great. I don't know what to think about Michael McGreevy, and I don't know how to project him because he is kind of like there's no flash. Um, but he stays competitive. He stays in the zone. He's not getting destroyed. And so far, so good.
Yeah. So I like clearly the best start. Well, maybe today's Liberatore start would argue against the Mets. But outside of that, I think it is clearly that McGreevy's start was the best from a pure results standpoint. Um, Something to keep an eye on though, all of his velocity was down.
Yeah.
Multiple ticks depending on the pitch. And so what's that about? He was getting results with it, but that's usually not what you're looking for from this type of guy. So was it intentional to have better control and that was part of the game plan, or is he still heating up coming into the season? If it's the latter, then I'm excited by it. Like he had these results with that drop in velocity. If it's the former, I worry about long-term success with the velocity that he was putting up. But obviously, great opening to the season for him.
Yeah, it is. He is like so kind of boring
Yeah.
that it's I don't know what to think. And yeah, like, to illustrate Nate's point, His fastball usually has averaged around 93. It hit 91 this week. His cutter was down, sinker was down. Yeah, across the board. They were all significantly slower. But he still had success against an offense that isn't totally worthless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to say. He's also like, there's just nothing about it that you would really like I said, there's nothing you would really project wildly about it. There's no crazy strikeout numbers. There's no crazy ground ball numbers. I guess if he does anything well, it's that he doesn't walk people very well. And that is inherently valuable. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
to
just something to keep an eye on. Like my
Yeah.
first, like the starting pitching this run through was not bad. May had probably the worst results, although maybe some of the better stuff.
I'm not worried about him yet.
No, me neither. Libertor seemed the most like doing what he's gonna do. It looked like what we hope that he'll look like. To me, that was kind of like, at least game one was kind of like, if this is what not perfect Libertor looks like, then I think we're in for a pretty good season. We've been recording during the Mets game, so haven't really been able to watch him pitch. Obviously, we know we're at the point where we know how he did, but I don't know anything about it. So I can't say, but the results were pretty good. So feeling pretty good about Libertor. McGreevy with the velo being down, Palante being Palante basically, and the results being in his favor one way or another. Ultimately, I left saying there's ample room in this rotation. We're going to be seeing hopefully Fitz and Dobbins and all these other guys probably pretty soon. And if there is a Achilles heel to this fun, young, exciting team right now, while it might feel like it's the bullpen after this first week, I still think it's the starting rotation. And that has been what has sank them the last 3 years in a row, basically. And I don't think we are in any place different right now.
No, and just to say his name, because we haven't yet, Kyle Leahy had a pretty rough turn as well. Not sure how to feel about
slider,
that.
That slider, though, you're like, okay, I see it. I see what he could do.
Yeah.
One of the better of all the pitches by all the starters this week. It's one of the best pitches thrown by any of the starters.
Yeah. But boy, oh boy, did the results were not there. Speaking of somebody who had poor results, and we've seen a tremendous amount so far for so few games, is Ryan Stanek, who has pitched 3 1/3 in these first handful of games and has as many strikeouts as he has walks, 4 for 4. Has gotten torched a little bit, has looked wild. The velo is there. He's hitting 99 regularly. And that pitch probably plays. I am surprised at how often he's been used so far. I think that speaks to like the Matt Pussard and stuff. Like, we don't really know what we have. And I think Ali Marmol is trying to win games, sort of, kind of. He's trying to win. But Stanek has looked really wild. And I mean that in like all senses of the word. Like it's wild. All of it's wild. Also, we were talking about this in the bird score. The guy could use a brush, just one brush once in a while, I think would do a lot of good for him.
I'm just imagining the St. Louis humidity in a couple months going to be frizzy.
Yeah.
I'll say what I said on C70's show is that in just these 4 innings alone, you can see why he was a closer at the major league level at multiple different points in his career, and also why the Cardinals got him for nothing late in the offseason. So I have been surprised by his usage as well. I don't think that was the plan for the home opener. I think that the bullpen just got thrust into duty after that horrible 6th inning and everything got pushed forward. I could be wrong there because he obviously has been used in high leverage spots after that, but I don't think they were intending for him to be the 9th inning guy in that game. And he seemingly already now is sort of in the seventh inning spot now,
Right.
which I suppose makes more sense. But there's always the argument that the Cardinals are managing for the trade deadline, and they want, like, the ideal would have been he came out, crushed the ninth inning, gets like 15 saves by July 31st, and nets them some sort of valuable return at the trade deadline.
I don't think that's impossible yet. I mean, he's a reliever, like the could flip on a dime and he could be
Yeah.
nails. Maybe he finds something. Maybe he can locate the fastball. But yeah, early going, it's pretty rough. But it makes sense. It makes sense. And also, like,
Yeah.
he's a 34-year-old, $1.5 million reliever. If you want to be, you want to treat him like a rental car and drive the shit out of him while you're taking care of your other longer, the assets that you have for a little bit longer. That also makes sense to me. It's crude,
Yeah.
but it's smart.
Yeah. Yeah. We mentioned it earlier already a little bit. Like, the bullpen has felt rough, but I'm not too worried about it just yet. Matt Swanson looked pretty good again in the game last night. What he gave up 6 runs in his first basically inning of pitching.
It'll take him all year to get his ERA down from that.
I know it really. I was thinking of that too. He gave up something like 13 total runs last year, and so he's giving up half of his runs that he's going to give up this year. So, relievers ERA is like the worst metric to look at for them. I think he'll be just fine. JoJo's looked pretty good. Riley O'Brien has looked great. So I'm not really worried about the bullpen, but I expect that we'll be swapping these guys.
Yeah.
That front part of it, the Brules, the Poussards, the Sorianos. Well, maybe not Soriano since he's also no options, but I think we'll be swapping these guys out a lot, and I'm not worried about it just yet.
No, but it does mean a tougher watch, but that's okay.
Yes. All right. Anything else you want to talk about from this opening week?
No, let's move on. Baseball's here,
All
baby.
right. Well, we're going to talk about the upcoming series, hit a little news, and do a little game here at the end. But before we get to that, we want to remind our listeners that this show is listener supported on patreon.com. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. You can find all of the different ways to support the show, but supporters at any level get access to our private Discord server. We call it the Bird Scored. You've heard us talk about it on the show a bunch at this point. It is essentially a private chat server for listeners and supporters, and we've got some other writers and podcasters in the group there as well. It's a very, very active place. It's a fun place to hang while watching a game. News is posted there, and if you just want to talk baseball with people and talk to actual humans and not whatever the hell the rest of social media is at this point, it's a really good place to go. And you can also feel some satisfaction in supporting a wholly independent baseball podcast. So talkingaboutbirds.com or patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. We also appreciate anyone and everyone who leaves us a review on their favorite podcast platform. It really does help. And of course, tell your friends and tell your family. Make sure you follow, subscribe, all of that. We appreciate you. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
Yeah, we're on all the socials. You can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. You can watch this episode on YouTube. If you're one of those people that wants to watch us, you can do that there at youtube.com/talkingaboutbirds. You can find all the podcast information, t-shirts, and more at talkingaboutbirds.com. You can email us at talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And of course, you can call us and you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
848-48-BIRDS. All right, Hambone, after the Mets game, the Cardinals have an off day. And then we will head to Detroit to play the Motor City Kitties, the Tigers themselves. How you feeling about this series?
Well, we're missing Tarek Skubal, which is good for the Cardinals, but bad for you and I, who like watching guys like Tarek Skubal pitch.
Yeah.
But I think we're still gonna have a good time. The Tigers are pretty good. Their starting rotation, at least the Cardinals are going to draw Framber Valdez, the new guy in town. Jack Flaherty, we remember him. And Justin Verlander is back. So that's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday matchups. And, outside of that, this team is young and still very interesting. Kevin McGonigal's got to be the story here, though. He is kind of one of the best prospects in baseball. He has proved to be an extremely difficult out in the very young season. He is fun to watch. If you guys have not had a chance to watch him play or just watch an at bat, that series that he had against the Padres earlier, I mean, he is legit. He's a tough out.
Yeah.
He is an interesting.
He's good.
He's kind of like Dustin Pedroia, but maybe a little more toolsy is like the way I would describe him. He's very impressive. And outside of that, they brought Gleyber Torres back. Riley Green is still kind of locking down their lineup, and they kind of have good players all up and down. I think the only weak spot they really have, in my opinion, is their bullpen. But bullpens, like we always talk about, they could turn on a dime at any point. But I like this team. I think it'll be a good matchup for the Cardinals. I think this is a better team than the Cardinals. Not unwinnable, but like I said, Valdez, Flaherty, and JV, and that's, missing their number one is not an easy assignment.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty well-constructed team. They're not completely clicking just yet. That lineup is beatable. They obviously have some very high highs on it, but the bottom half of it isn't really producing just yet. They have some holes. I think they are beatable, but that pitching is going to be is pretty good. Like the Cardinals have faced some pretty good pitching to start the season already, but I don't know that we have seen a Valdez yet.
No, I would say today the Cardinals are going against Freddie Peralta.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
he's
true.
been he's probably around like the same tier as Valdez, but yeah, so close. It's pulling hairs. Yeah,
pulling hairs,
not splitting hairs. That's what it is. Jesus.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
This hurts.
Hey.
Javi Baez. I watched a highlight of him this morning. He took a kind of hanging curveball right down the middle, and then Mike Soroka threw another curveball that was about 1.5 feet outside, and he put his A swing on it and missed. So we'll have that to look forward to as well.
You gotta love a Javi Baez highlight reel of bad strikeouts. Very satisfying.
I'll shout out Dylan Dingler too. I think he's massively underrated. Great
S-tier name,
and like becoming one of the better catchers. I feel like nobody's talking about him, but he's very good.
Yeah, Dylan Dingler.
Yeah, it's a good name.
And a Dingler Dinger.
Dylan Dingler Dinger.
After that, the Cardinals head to your nation's capital.
Wow,
to play the Washington Nationals. What are we going to see out of this one?
Oh, I got good news. So we are going to see in the final game of the 3-game set. So it's going to be Zach Littell for game 1, Cade Cavalli, who I think is pretty good, kind of an underrated starting pitcher for the Nationals, game 2, and then your best friend Miles Michaelis is going to be closing out the game.
Please.
And it's going to be on his home turf, so the ball's really going to be in Miles' court. I have a feeling, and this is not just me hating on Miles, I have a feeling that he is going to get blown up in that game. I don't know why.
Can Cardinal fans just get some catharsis from the last 2 seasons? Like,
yeah.
I think I'm done shitting on Miles as a Cardinal. He had some very good seasons with us and got us through some tough times. But those last 2 years, it would be quite satisfying for the Cardinals to get to hit some of those 88 mile per hour down the middle fastballs. Just a few,
middle 2-seamer. Here it comes. I agree. Outside of Miles, I mean, this is really the Joey Wiemer show. He's one of the best players in baseball. Obviously, he is their current center fielder. Somehow they only have him hitting 8th right now, which is a crime. But Joey Wiemer, he's also got guys like James Wood. CJ Abrams is still batting around there. Luis Garcia Jr., who I think is a pretty solid player. And I guess the only other player I really want to say their name out loud is Andre Granillo. Remember him? He is over there
Yeah.
holding down the bullpen, kind of slotted towards the lower leverage there. But yeah, this team is like, it's a team that failed to launch that is now rebuilding again. So like the Cardinals really should go into here, and I think that they're a far better team than the Nationals. Maybe not far better, but they are a decidedly better team than the Nationals. So I expect a nice series from the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree. I think that James Wood is probably the highest upside of any player
Sure.
on
Sure.
either team right now, but he has a whole host of strikeout problems in any individual game. Just like CJ Abrams is incredibly high ceiling, but any individual game can strike out 4 times.
Yeah.
And our team is known for its strikeouts, so that'll certainly match up
Really
well.
have not been striking anyone out this year, which is crazy because of the emphasis coming into the offseason. But
Well, that's
small
what I was
sample.
saying earlier. The current rotation is not the future rotation.
No, it is not.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up with let's move on to some league news.
Yeah, the Mariners signed Colt Emerson to an 8-year extension for $95 million before he has even made a single at bat or had a single at bat in the big leagues. Obviously, the Mariners think pretty highly of him. They think that his power has come along. It looks like he's making a move to the outfield. We'll see how long that lasts. With I know JP is locking down shortstop for them, or he's injured right now, but he is their shortstop. But anyways, kind of a wild move, guy. I believe this is a record-setting deal for somebody who's never played in the majors. But they extend their guy, Nate.
Yeah, we already really went into this discussion at the top of the show, so don't need to fully rehash it. Like, always a little surprised at the extent of a deal like this. I do think this will probably work out for them. He certainly seems, like we talked about JJ Wetherholt, like of the prospects that you feel comfortable spending big on and locking in. He's a good bet. But I was still a little surprised. Mariners have a lot of prospects. They have a lot of guys that they like. I'm kind of surprised that they've made a choice to say he's one of our guys for the future already. Cole Young was another guy that people felt pretty similar about, and he really struggled out of the gates, and he's having a good start, but we'll see, so I'm surprised, but good for him. And, probably good for the Mariners. So it'll be fun to see him.
They're having a lot of fun up there right now. I mean, that's an easy. I watch a lot of Mariners because they're a fun team to watch, and yeah, we'll see if it works out for them or not. But if you're a Mariners fan, thinking of him and Julio and Cal together for the next decade or whatever, like that's pretty exciting, especially if this kid works out. Less exciting news for Cardinals fans. The Cubs and Nico Horner agreed to a 6-year extension worth $114 million. We talked about this months ago at this point about the Cubs entertaining, or seemingly, at least the media was reporting that they were entertaining the idea of moving on from Nico and trading him to another team. I never thought that made sense. He is kind of like he's like the perfect this version of the Cubs player. He is so good defensively. I think he's underrated offensively. He can steal a base, maybe the best defensive second baseman in baseball. And they lock him up for the foreseeable future. I think a great move for the Cubs, and it's too bad.
Yeah, I'm a little mixed on this one, at least compared to your glowing review. I worry a little more about if I were a Cubs fan. As a Cardinal fan, I hope that this is true, that he may be ultimately just sort of an empty batting average, good defensive second baseman. And while it fits their current team comp pretty well with guys like Bregman and some of the power around Michael Bush and whatnot, like, doesn't make sense 5 years from now when he probably isn't as fast as he is now and really has zero power. So, he could very easily become a 260, 3 home run, 20 stolen base type of guy, which is not valuable, you know? So I think the
But
floor could be pretty low, but
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
what we've learned is like nobody gives a shit about the back end of these contracts. It's all about the first 3 years, and they'll figure out what to do with them at that point. I agree. When Nico Horner is 36 or 37, he's probably not going to be a great baseball player, but they don't
Yeah.
care about that.
It's for the next couple years and
Yeah.
just figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. The Orioles have extended Shane Baz 5 years, $68 million. It's really going around, Nate. But I like this. The Orioles, they traded for this guy. Obviously, they like him. They then extended him. It's what probably every Orioles fan wanted to happen. They're extending a pitcher who they think has high upside. So good for them. He's only 26. He'll turn 27 later this year. Probably get a handful of really good years out of him during this deal. I like the move.
Yeah. I thought the trade was good. I think the extension is good. I think Shane Baz is good, or Baz. That could all be wrong if he's not. So
Yeah.
it's, definitely all banking on upside here. But we talked with C70 about these guys who like clearly can strike out a ton and just haven't put it all together, and then they just need that one thing to click, and all of a sudden they're elite. I think he's in that camp. So if you're going to gamble on a starter, like certainly like this archetype.
Jason Heyward announces his retirement. Shout out to a king.
I mean, it's so easy and so fun to kind of laugh at him at this point. And I think that's mostly just, and I'm speaking to myself for myself here. It's mostly just coping with what happened. But he, the reality is he was the centerpiece of one of my favorite Cardinal teams of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And
We wanted him back.
So I was all in on the extend Heyward.
Yeah.
Beat. So I was a huge fan of Jason Heyward, and then he left and became bad and won a World Series and all that. So, whatever. Good for him. Good. Ultimately a very successful career. And again, he was the best player on the 2015 St. Louis Cardinals. So
he had his best year as a Cardinal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's he was only 25 when that happened. Wow. That is so long ago. It was in 2015 that happened. All right. Final piece of news. MLB Players Association announced that they amassed a war chest of more than $500 million for both the 2024 and 2025 years. The players agreed to put aside 100% of their licensing revenue into this quote-unquote war chest. I don't know how this makes me feel for the possibility of games happening in 2027, but I'm going to take the optimistic outlook here, and I'm going to say that, you can cover a lot of salary with that money, and that means you can wait out a lot of games. Maybe this will encourage the ownership group to start the conversations in good faith.
Well, everything right now is posturing. They released that for a reason. I assume it is for the purpose that you have outlined here. It is essentially intimidation. Hey, look at us. We have power too.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. We're going to get continued escalations of, no, we're in charge. Statements in different forms of that over the next year. And we'll see where it goes. I am choosing to be optimistic as well. I maybe naively trust baseball to recognize that they are as popular now as they've been in a very long time.
People like ABS. Let's keep this going, guys. Come on.
I know. It's argued. It is basically it has retaken the lead over basketball. Football still has a huge lead in American sports, but baseball is seemingly like number 2 and rising. So I hope that both sides will recognize this. I think this one is going to be interesting, Hambone, because I believe the point, the linchpin of the entire thing is going to be something that the fans actually agree with the owners on. So we will see how this goes. When by that I talk about a salary cap.
Yeah.
So
And we know that is a total non-starter for the union. So enjoy
It's
baseball this
going-
season, everybody.
it's going to be tough. It's
Yeah.
going to be tough.
Yeah.
We are pro worker, so pro player. But this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Where I don't think many people are going to recognize the nuance there.
Yeah. All right, Nate, that's all I got.
All right, Hambone, we're going to wrap up this episode by covering a beat that you and I find very, very important. That is the strange foods at Barks beat in another episode of League Choose. So, Hambone, I am sharing with you a link to our favorite, definitely written by humans, sports reporting website, Sports Illustrated.
Me, dog? Yeah.
I'm dropping you a link so you can look at this alongside of me, and we are going to render some judgments on what Sports Illustrated is calling the most absurd new ballpark food of 2026.
I was reading about the first item because it's coming to Coors Field, and I'll tell you what, no spoilers, but I'm excited.
2 items actually on this list at Coors Field. Why don't we step into the first one here? This is the Rockies. Can I be
a huge wet blanket first?
Yeah.
I think all of these products are built by or are brought to us by Aramark, which is a shitty company that delivers shitty food. So even though these things might sound good, they never are. And it's so disappointing. Fuck you, Aramark. All right, we can go.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's reasonable to be mad at everything right now. So the very first one, though, this is near and dear to me, Hambone, and I gotta say, I'm hoping to come to Rockies Field this year with you and go to some games.
Coors Field.
And this, whatever, you know what I mean. And this one is a combo of 2 of my favorite things. That is the Rockies Pizza Donut, which seems to basically be a donut, a glazed donut with pizza toppings on top of it, sauce, cheese, pepperoni, and some sort of green sauce, which you don't typically think of for pizza.
But like a pesto-y type thing or something?
It does. What's your take on the pizza donut?
I'll tell you.
Would you get one of these?
Even with Aramark being responsible for it, how could this be bad? This is going to be delicious. When pizza's on a donut, you can have pizza anytime, Nathan.
The slogan writes itself.
Yeah. No, I will absolutely get these this season. Maybe I will get them on Friday. Cannot wait. They'll probably be disappointing, but I mean, they'll probably be like $75. But pizza on a donut, let's go.
In moving on to the Royals, they are offering now a beef Wellington hot dog. So our UK listeners, shout out to Akira again, may find this appealing. Have you had a beef Wellington before?
I had a beef Wellington at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in Vegas. This is years ago for a work trip. And guess what? Yeah. It was absolutely fucking delicious. It was incredible.
Well, that's like one of his things, right?
That's what he's famous Wellington for. Yeah. I got some sucker at a work event to pay for it. It was great.
Hell yeah. So do you think this foot-long hot dog with minced mushrooms, chipotle ketchup, and yellow mustard on it will be good?
It looks like a hot dog that got ran over. There's no way this is good. It's sad. Just give me a dog. What are we doing?
Yeah, it looks like a pig in the blanket with a bunch of shit on it. All right, next one. The Rocky Glazilla.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with this one?
I was. This was a topic of conversation at my house. As Nate may know, and I don't think our listeners know, unfortunately, I have a weird aversion to mac and cheese. I don't eat it. I don't want to get into it, but I don't eat it.
It's one of his worst takes.
Yeah, I know that I'm right, but this is a 2-foot-long hot dog that's covered in mac and cheese. That, to me, sounds absolutely horrible, but I can see why some sickos out there are lusting after the Glazilla. I will say the name is good. It is. Whenever a company, like a lot of beer companies do this, they make you say something absolutely like so stupid sounding when you're ordering their thing. I kind of appreciate it.
I'll have one mommy's little helper, please.
I need that to wash down my Glizilla.
Yeah. So I like mac and cheese on a hot dog. Steve's Hot Dogs, a local spot. Most are probably familiar with it. They sort of pioneered that in St. Louis, and I've enjoyed it many times. The thing that stands out to me on this one is it is a 2 foot long hot dog, but the hot dog itself weighs 1 pound, which I think that must be a thin guy in there. 2 foot, but
Yeah.
only 1 pound total.
I will tell you, last time I had a Rockies dog, I got food poisoning
Oh no.
while I was in a 4-hour car ride down to Southern Colorado, and it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. Well, you know what? Well, it certainly won't make your stomach feel good is the Orioles Big Scrap Burger.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Scrapple?
So I have only just heard of that because the current season of Top Chef is happening in this part of the country, and they just
Okay.
had a challenge with Scrapple. And I will tell you, I'd eat some,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't look forward to it. But I
So
would eat it.
Scrapple is a fried piece. This is their words. Fried piece of mushed together pork scraps.
Yeah. Some
Which
places call it pork mush,
Okay.
something like that. It is. I only know this because of the most recent season of Top Chef. It's disgusting.
Yeah, well, this is basically a double smash burger with some Scrapple crammed in there as well.
Yeah.
So if you where is that? That's at Orioles, so you can watch that as Shane Baz is blasted, and your entire hopes for the future of the Orioles go down the drain. You can at least clog your arteries
And then go
with
blast the
this
toilet.
monstrosity. Yeah, there you go. We'll wrap it up, Hambone, here with the Marlins Machete. Are you looking at this?
This looks delicious. I mean,
Why don't you take a shot at describing what we're looking at here?
So it looks like the longest taco I've ever seen. It seems to be stuffed with like cilantro, onions, and steak. And you get some green salsa and peppers on the side. But I mean, it's just a big ass taco. And it says 2 foot long taco. Yeah, Oaxaca cheese, pepper sauce, salsa verde, cilantro, homemade flour tortilla. My ass, that wasn't made at anyone's.
It's served here on a wooden plank, but it is almost certainly going to come in some sort of shitty little trough that is going to just get thrown away with probably half of this whole thing because I can't imagine it's going to carry very well. But I don't know, Hambone, what do you think? Are these all, you getting all these all snacks? What are you doing?
I think I'm eating the welly. That's just a waste of good phyllo dough or whatever the fuck they're wrapping that in. I would eat the Glizilla if I wasn't a weirdo that had this stupid version that nobody else has. Everything else I would try.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited to try. I'll try Scrapple at some point just because I've just now it's in the zeitgeist, Nate, where people are talking about it. But I don't think it's going to be good. It's like the stuff that they couldn't throw into a hot dog, It's like this is low tier meat.
But you deep fry it, put it in between two smash burgers, and it's a texture thing more than anything.
I'm on board. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. If you want to support the show, don't forget to check out patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds or just talkingaboutbirds.com for all of our links and everything. We will be back next week. As always, thank you again for listening. It's been a fun first week of Cardinal baseball, and I'm hoping for a fun second week and beyond. And we'll be bringing it to you every single week. So thank you again. We'll be back next week. And as always, go Cardinals.
Jordan Walker.